live from the J.C. Newman Cigar Studios and the Gurkha Cigar Studios in the great state of New Hampshire. Welcome to the Smokin Tabacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Pat Chamberlain.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tabacco Show. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTabacco.com, joined once again by my good friend, Mr. Pat Chamberlain. Pat, you had a pretty you had a pretty big day today. You had a review go out that was scored very high.
It did.
That was something. I've given you some good cigars that didn't even pass 90, and I'm like, and then you went way over 90 today. Good for you. You must really like that cigar.
It's not what I like. It's how it did.
I know. Well, that was very cool. Very, very cool. We've been cranking out a lot of reviews lately, trying to get caught up with some legacy reviews, as well as obviously the new products, where the new stuff's really not too wild yet because we're still a little bit early, but after the trade show is when the floodgates open. So trying to get a little bit ahead of the game. But nonetheless, it's been a good time. We've been busy getting ready for the show. Lots to talk about. But tonight instead, we're going to focus on one company. We're going to focus on one person who's going to be with us. One family, really. This one's special. This one's cool. We talk about family a lot. We talk about how this business is. Most of it's family-owned businesses. A lot of multi-generational, and we've seen a lot of tributes to the past. And this group's no exception now. I'm really proud and excited. Sorry, I'm getting all caught up on this, but I really am. I'm really excited. I'm really touched that he's here. We have a great guest with us tonight. It's Nicholas Perdomo from Perdomo Cigars, and he's going to talk to us about the Perdomo Legacy project, which is going to debut at PCA 2025 in a couple of weeks. And this is going to be a tribute to his dad, Nick Perdomo. Nicholas, welcome to the show. Very excited to have you here. And before I turn it over to you, one last thing while you're here, and I know the family and everyone in Perdomo Army is watching. Congratulations again on Cigar of the Year. We're going to do our What We're Smoking segment in just a second, but I'm going to tell you now, we're smoking Perdomo 30th, Sun-Grown. This is our Cigar of the Year. Fantastic, well-earned. Congratulations. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you, guys, and thanks for the Cigar of the Year. We really appreciate it. We're really proud of it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well-earned. You guys did it, and Look, it was fantastic. I mean, even the Maduro made the list. The Connecticut didn't make our list, but I thought it was fantastic. But it just didn't. Unfortunately, it didn't have quite enough votes. But the Maduro was on the list as well, and then the Sun-Grown obviously took the cake. So, just once again, just another great release cycle for Perdomo cigars. I mean, it's and that's the thing about you guys. You don't release a lot of stuff all the time. And that's not a knock to people who do, but when you guys release something, it's noteworthy. And in my experience, every single time you guys have released something, it's been a hit, and it's because I think your hard work and your quality really pays off, and it speaks for itself, and it makes that wait for the next thing worth it. So just congrats on everything, just across the board.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we take a long time. When we make a blend, we go through it and we really just speed it up. And Perdomo 30th anniversary took over 5 years. The new release that we have, Perdomo Legacy, it's a cigar. It took me five and a half years to develop. Took me over 3 years to create the blend. So I mean, everything is about. It's never. You got to take your time when you do things, and you gotta, especially things that are special. You should never rush it. So, yeah, I'm glad we take our time. We don't push too hard in that regard.
Good things come to those who wait, right? I mean, that's what my parents always said growing up.
Mine too.
And I think that, when you look at a lot of the good. Now let me take that back. Yeah, when you look at the good tobacco people, right? And that's not just the manufacturers in general, but the growers, people who grow tobacco, and you guys grow your tobacco. That's the biggest sentiment that they've all said to me. I mean, that's not me, putting a label on anybody. It's always been, whenever I've had anyone who grows tobacco on this show or interviewed or we had the discussion, every single grower of tobacco, not just a manufacturer, it's all about taking your time, the time it takes to wait, the patience. that's the biggest thing those people tell me. Your dad's been on this show many a times. He's explained that to me. Many other people like the Fuentes and, Pete Johnson's talked about it, and him and his family, the Garcias, and they talked about, all these people, and it's the same sentiment every time. It's, we take our time, we play, and the other thing too is the vibe I get when I speak to you guys is not just like, well, we come up with a concept for a cigar. We're like, let's use this tobacco, and we just plan it and grow it, and that's it. No, like, you guys plan it out. You plan out, like, what we're going to grow, how we're going to grow it. You test different things, and then you kind of get get the basis, and then you're like, all right. And it's a slow process. You don't just throw the seeds down and be like, all right, when it's done, we'll hang it, we'll ferment it. Maybe it'll sit in the pilon for a year, maybe 3. I don't know. Then we'll just roll. It's not just like, we'll do it. It's every step is meticulously planned out. And I think, again, these are the things that really set some brands apart from each other. And and you guys are not the only ones, but you guys are a great example.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's listen, the cigars, they have our family's last name, and when you smoke a Perdomo, it's an extension of our family. So the quality is everything. And my dad always taught me, quality brings quantity. And the beautiful thing about us is, especially with being growers of tobacco, outside of Connecticut wrappers that we purchase from ASP Enterprises, but all of our other wrappers that we grow in Nicaragua, the beautiful thing is we have so much tobacco from so many different lots within farms that we've never used before. So we have so much tobacco that we're able to make new blends and use different type of proportions of certain filler tobaccos and create these blends. And we have so many years of opportunities of coming up with new brands and creating new blends. And I'm already brainstorming some stuff right now for the future, for potential releases. So I'm already working on that. So there's always something, but it takes a long time. And I like the fact that I want to take my time because it has my name on it.
Yeah, as you should. And I think that's the right strategy. It's paid off. It's paid off for your family's business in the past, and I'm sure it'll continue to do so as you move forward and enter the next era of the business. But let's take a minute to pause for a second. Let's talk about some of our friends that are with us tonight. As I mentioned before, I've kind of already announced what we're smoking, but I don't want to leave out our friends at 2guyscigars.com. That's right, the number 2guyscigars.com. They carry almost all the Perdomo cigars. They don't carry every SKU, but they carry most of it. They're a very, very big supporter of Perdomo cigars. You can find all of their cigars at the number 2guyscigars.com today. Place an order with them now. And as always, we have our friends from ST Dupont with us. That's right, Shake Up the Legacy. ST Dupont featuring the new monogram collection. This is the Gold Line 2. Whoop, if I can get it to flip. No, that wasn't good. I fucked that one up. The new monogram line 2. Pat has the monogram Biggie lighter, which was our cigar, a lighter of the year. Sorry, our accessory of the year, which was a lighter of the year, I guess, as well as the matching cutter. So we have the whole monogram collection here. It's very beautiful. Just came out with more to come. While we're here talking about Dupont really quickly, going to have some exciting stuff at PCA coming up that's going to be unveiled. Head to smokintabacco.com for more information on that. Nicholas, now that we got that out of the way, not that we had to get it out of the way, but I wanted to make sure we acknowledge those people. But now I can get really into you. So, 30th Cigar of the Year from us. I know you guys got some awards from some other people as well. You guys did well. That shipped late 23, I think.
Correct.
I know it missed. The reason why we didn't have it on our list in 23 because it missed our cutoff because we block out the last 2 months of the year with releases for a lot of reasons. I'm not going to get into that whole thing, but it was eligible in 24, so that's for those people who are wondering, they're like, well, it came out in 23. We have a certain deadline, but anyway, you guys made the list. Everyone knows that. But now we're going to 25. So just about 2 years later, and now you guys have the next thing. And we're talking about it now, the Perdomo Legacy. Now, this is something that you first whispered to me I think last year at the trade show, maybe before. I know at least at last year's trade, you had whispered this to me, didn't say anything else, and I said, "Oh," and you kind of gave me the quick, like, "It's this, it's all me," and I said, "Wow," and you're like, "We're not talking about it yet, but look at maybe next year," and I said, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh, we got something to look forward to." Now, as we're getting closer and closer, you guys are talking about it, and I'm gonna let you do the whole pitch on it because it's your thing, and I think it's very special. But this is, I think it's safe to say, different than anything Perdomo's done before.
Yeah, I mean, my dad, I mean, he made a couple different blends back in the day in honor of his grandfather, my great grandfather, Silvio Perdomo, a brand called Edición de Silvio. And my dad created a brand about 15 years ago called Perdomo Patriarch, which was in honor of his dad, my grandfather, Nick Perdomo Sr. And my dream always was, as I got into the business and as I started growing in the company, I always wanted to blend a cigar and make a brand in honor of my dad specifically. And so Perdomo Legacy is a testament to him. It's a testament to basically a man's vision and his dream, which he's been able to live. And so the legacy and I think the name's perfect, but the legacy that my father's left for me is incredible. What the legacy my dad's left for my children, and the opportunities are immense for our family. And going into this project over 5.5 years ago, almost 5.5 years ago, I just threw myself into the deep end of the pool. I said, "Hey, listen, I know about tobacco, I know about all this, but now I'm gonna work on a brand. I'm gonna work on blend. I'm gonna do everything all at once. It's not just little pieces. It was everything at once." And so when I started working on the blend, it was tough. I went into the factories and basically went into our pre-industries and where we have our tobaccos and bales and tobaccos that's aged. And I started opening up bales of tobacco, looking at certain filler tobacco, secos, visos, ligeros, different binders, different wrappers. And the one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to use a special tobacco that's proprietary to our family, to our company. And about 12 years ago, we're always creating with our geneticists. We're always looking to work on and build upon the seeds that we use. We use different Cuban seeds, Criollo 98, Corojo 2012, and so forth. And what happens over time is your seeds degenerate. And what you want to do is you want to build stronger seeds, and you create hybrids that are resistant to different spores, molds, and viruses, and to combat that. So one of the things we were able to do is with my dad and our geneticists, we created a Cuban seed, which was a Criollo 98, and we were able to create a hybrid with a Cameroon seed, which was the original Sumatra seed. And so one of the things that my dad wanted to do, because we grow all our sun-grown wrappers and our Maduro wrappers in Jalapa due to the lighter grounds, a little bit loamier, and produces more elastic type of tobaccos, but yet maintains incredible flavor. My dad wanted to start a shade-grown operation in Esteli, which is filler country. And the tobacco in Esteli is extremely thick. It's extremely lush because of the volcanic grounds. But my dad said, "What an opportunity. I've never been scared to do anything in my life, and what I want to do is I want to create this shade-grown operation." And so one of the things I wanted to do was I said, "Dad, let's call it Nicaraguan shade-grown tobacco." That's because that's what it is. So we've been growing this tobacco now for over 10 years. We started the latter part of 2014 into 2015. And so this Nicaraguan shade-grown wrapper it's like nothing we've ever made. It's like nothing that's on the market. I'm proud of it. It's ours. It's totally proprietary again to us, and the flavors of the tobacco is totally different. So it's something extremely special. I can't wait for the cigar smoker, the lover of cigars, our retail partners, the few and select who are going to carry it across the country. I can't wait for everybody to get their hands on these special cigars.
I'm excited. Like I said before, when you guys have put something out, I know something new's coming. I'm always excited to try it because I have high expectations, I guess is the rougher way to say it. But the reason for that is because the history with your products has shown that, I have a lot to usually expect and look forward to. And so far, you guys haven't let me down. So definitely excited. You guys are also pretty standard with, and I'm trying to do like some quick thinking on the fly here, but thinking of like pretty much all of your core lines, and you pretty much always do the Connecticut, the Sun Grown, and the Maduro in 5-6 sizes
Right.
usually.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, breaking out of that format, kind of, so to speak. Like,
No,
we're
we have
gonna do
three
something different.
we're going to still have 3 wrappers. So what's pretty interesting, and during the blending process, the highlight of the cigar, because it's different, the wrapper is the Nicaraguan shade-grown wrapper, but we are also going to feature Connecticut and Maduro. And what makes the cigar special, both those other blends, is that it utilizes Nicaraguan shade-grown binders. So
Oh, I see.
yeah, so I want to be able to. So one of the things I wanted to do was, how could I incorporate that tobacco for someone who loves Connecticut cigars, or how can I incorporate this type of tobacco for those who love Maduro wrap cigars? And it works extremely well. It's super. Especially when you smoke the cigar, when you smoke the Nicaraguan shade-grown wrapper, there's almost like a cinnamon taste. There's like a cinnamon sweetness, but there's almost like a molasses finish. It's something totally different. There's sweetness across the board, but it's just, and it works really well with the creaminess of the Connecticut. You get a nice little bit of a sweet finish, and then the earthiness of the Maduro with a slight hint of cocoa. You get that nice molasses finish on the cigar. It works really well. The tobacco is extremely thick because it's grown in Esteli, but the combustibility is incredible for wrapper and binder. So it's totally unique.
So meaning like you have a much hardier leaf, so to speak.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, very thick, but it's extremely elastic, and the combustibility on the tobacco is incredible.
Yeah. I mean, and I know that sometimes that could be tricky. With other cigars. We had a few issues with a couple of cigars recently where, out of character, weren't burning very well, and unfortunately, sometimes it happens. And it's all handmade products. It's all naturally grown organic material. It's most of you guys do a great job of keeping consistency. Unfortunately, it's never perfect. Once in a while. I mean, even like with your cigars, I think of maybe one time I ever really had like a serious enough issue where it kind of ruined the experience. Out of, hundreds I've probably smoked. Same goes for a lot of brands, but you still have that like 0.001% where it happens. And then you work with those tobaccos that you would expect, like, oh, this is going to be a stronger leaf and this and that, but still be able to work it where it burns, it tastes, it performs well, it still works, all of those moving pieces. I think that aspect of it, the working with the tobaccos, and I think that's really where it shines for a lot of cigar makers, is not only just like knowing the blend, but also just knowing the capabilities and all of that with each of the different varieties of tobacco, how they burn, how to mix them together, how to like just the whole science behind it. To me, is I've always found it fascinating, and as much as I know about cigars and I smoke cigars, I couldn't do what you do. It's definitely a skill that's learned, and it's something you learn over time, and you get involved with it, and anyway, my point being, I'm excited for this, and excited to see you kind of go off and be like, hey, let me do my thing, and let me show everyone that I can take the torch, so to speak. I mean, that's kind of what it is in a way. Is it's kind of Nicholas being like, my dad's not as much as I love your dad, your mom and dad. No one's escaping that reality. It's just someday your dad won't be around, and it's gonna be all on you. And I think you're starting to show that hey, I can do this. This is what you taught me.
Sure, I think the biggest compliment to my dad is he built something incredible. Not only built a foundation, but he also built about 50 stories on top of that foundation. But I think it's my job to take it 100 stories on top of his 50 plus the foundation, and that's a compliment to him, because that's what I'm supposed to do to the next generation, and God willing, my children will do the same thing one day. So, I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. But I mean, it's a very tough task. My dad is who he is. He's a giant in the industry, and going back and looking at Perdomo Legacy would never be possible without my dad. I mean, my dad, I'm using tobacco that I'm blending tobacco, really, a wrapper variety, and the Nicaraguan shade-grown wrapper and binders that, my dad and our geneticist developed. So, I mean, this was his brainchild, and I'm proud that I'm really the first chef to be able to use this ingredient and blend a cigar and make a cigar in honor of him. But, the thing about my dad is, if I would never have mentioned this, we would have used this wrapper tobacco, and he would have never talked about, because my dad's not the type of person that, hey, I did this, I do this, this is what I do. My dad's not an I type of person, but he talks about the team. But in reality, this is all about my dad. And we had a sales meeting in January, and I was fortunate enough to share these cigars with our salesmen and our sales team, and really give them the first presentation of the cigar in terms of, everything I just went over with you in terms of the blends. And I really told my dad, I looked at him, because I've been telling him, hey, Dad, there's a cigar coming out after you. He's like, oh, okay, great. That's great. And I could see it hasn't hit him yet.
I can see it too. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, oh, thank you, son. I really appreciate it. I love you. Thank you. But we're sitting with the whole team, and I said, Dad, you don't get it. You don't get it. This is all about you. We're all sitting here because of you. The thousands of employees you've touched their lives that we've had over the last 3+ decades. This is ours, but it's really all about you. And Dad, this one's for you. So, that's really what it is. And I wouldn't be where I'm at without my dad. And, excuse me. But it's, what can I say? It's just, this is so special. And to be his son, to be 4th generation, Perdomo in the cigar business. And, he gave me a legacy, and now I'm about to have a son here in the next 5.5 months, and I'm not trying to be that controlling parent where I'm like, hey, I want him to be in the but I'm already laying out the roadmap for him to be a tobacco man, just like his grandpa and his dad.
Planting the seeds.
You better believe it. It's running in his blood. But and then his bigger sister, she's gonna get in it too. And I want my kids to work with me. So it's just a blessing. It just, at a young age, I see a lot, of life, and I've been fortunate to live a very incredible life being in this industry, because of this industry, but because of my dad and my mom.
I was thinking as you were saying that, I remember the first time I watched Hand Rolled, the first one, and your dad was in that a couple of times, and talking about the early days, and I remember your dad talking about how he'd call your grandparents and be like, can I come over for dinner tonight, because I can't afford to eat, because he invested everything he had into this business. And I've talked to a lot of these brands and people who've been around a long time, and they're like, I remember when we were sleeping in motels on the road just trying to get our brand out there, and now they're huge companies. And it's like, you talk about that, and it's you have to appreciate the time, the hard work, the sacrifice, that goes into doing what you guys all do. And you guys, but it's not even just you guys, it's a lot of the families in this business that you guys all compete with, but at the same time, I know you guys all are close with each other in some respects too. Because you all follow a very similar road, more or less. And, you guys all kind of, one thing I like about this business is that even as competitors, you guys all respect each other very well. Because you've all kind of had the same road. Everyone's story is a little different, but, the outline is very similar. You start at the bottom, and you build the legacy. And I think the legacy, the use of that, I think that was perfect for this. I think it speaks volumes. I think it's powerful. And I think it's going to be great with this project.
I appreciate it.
Sorry, I had something else loaded and I lost it.
I saw you loading up.
Yep, I lost it. I hate when that happens.
Pat,
save me.
I'm always loaded up. I just wait for the opportunity, man.
I'm sorry. Go. You save me, because I had something and now it's gone, and now I'm just blank. So you please take over so I can reload.
Go ahead, Pat.
I want to jump back to the 30th.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Yeah.
And then I'll go back forward. And we'll
No. Yeah, no. I think it's important. We should.
So one of the things that wasn't mentioned, because I wasn't with Smokin Tabacco when we did the 30th review, one of the things that I really appreciate about it, just beyond the tobacco, was the execution. right? Like there was only, I believe, like 70 retailers that initially had the ability of getting the 30th.
Oh yeah.
And that was done to ensure that these retailers can have the product, so there's no issues down the road. Oftentimes we find when a new cigar comes out, it's back ordered almost immediately. And the 30th was consistently shipping in, customers were getting it. And naturally, there's always like occasional back orders, but it was just very well executed. Plus the branding, the packaging. I mean, you just look at the bands, right? It's beautiful.
On these? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and then even like it's the coins, correct? Like there's
Yes.
a history with your family with those coins, right?
Correct. Yeah. So there's 12 or 13 medallions, and so those medallions, those were trophies basically back in the day in Cuba, and those specific ones we chose were either from H. Upman or Partagas. So my great grandfather worked for H. Upman for many years, and my grandfather worked for Partagas. So what we did was we took the coins from each one during the periods, which I believe were in the 40s, early 40s through the late 50s of the different awards. So it pays homage to them. It's really a nod to the past.
I also just love to add on to that with the bands. I love how you guys made it one piece, but at the same time, it when you look at it quickly, it looks like you get like a secondary band, but it's all one. I don't know why. For some reason, that always just pops with me, and I'm like, because it looks like two, but it's not. And
Well,
it's a big band, but it doesn't cover it too much, like some of the bands we've seen.
Yeah, I appreciate. That's what we try to go for. We try to go for multi-dimensional, especially with the packaging in terms of being able to use holograms, and it looks like there's multiple layers within the band, and it creates different type of separation, the powdered golds and the holograms and all that. So I appreciate you noticing that. So, but yeah, that's what we try to shoot for. But yeah, 30th was an incredible release. But you can never win, Patrick. So I mean, it's one of those things where, when you come out with a new brand, you either sell all the brand, then you go on back order, and then people get upset. Or you only open up 70 to 100 accounts, but you're trying to do the right thing by making sure that you can resupply those 70 to 100 accounts after the initial order, but then you upset other people. So it's tough, and it makes me really sad. I never like to turn. I never want to turn away business. I never want to tell a customer you can't have something, and I never tell them no. It's just unfortunately at this moment, but because listen, there's a couple different brands. 12-year double aged vintage uses all 12-year aged tobaccos. 30th anniversary uses 15-year aged tobaccos. Tobaccos we had from the bumper crop of 2007, 2008, which we'll have for many years, and then we're going to continue to as the age and so forth, because we still grow that seed variety for 30th anniversary and 12-year. So we're always going to be able to maintain the age years to come. But it's tough because you don't have so much inventory like you normally would of 5 to 8-year-old tobaccos. So it's tough, but it's one of those things where we try to do our best. But I'm glad that we're able to, we're increasing our accounts, especially this year. 12-year and 30th anniversary, we've been very aggressive because we've had more inventories. But yeah, we started out very small, being sure that we can have the products readily available for those 70 accounts. But now we're well over 100.
Yeah, I mean, I remember at the show when you first started last year. I think it was when you first started taking. No, I'm sorry.
23.
23. Sorry, 23 when you first started taking. I remember your dad mentioned that, like, it's only going to be open to like 70-ish stores,
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. But I get it because I've seen a lot of brands, and you worked in retail, and you've been around long. You kind of understand how it works outside of that too, where some brands have something that's I don't want to call this a limited production, because I don't think that's the right term for it, but at the same time,
It's like an annual, semi-annual, quarterly.
yeah, where you're not making enough to give it to everybody, and instead of just being like, come place your orders, and when it's gone, it's gone, it's like, well, let's try to control this a little bit and ration it out. And I think you guys did it the right way, because we've seen a lot of brands, walk on that floor every year that do different things, come out with different stuff. And the way look, at the end of the day, they always sell all their inventory, but, you're right. You're trying to also do it in a way where, because I've seen so many times where people get upset and they start to lash out, or whether they just go on social media or they just in conversations, or whatever, they go to the manufacturer and like, what the hell, I've been a customer for years. But because they felt like they just kind of was like, here you go, and if it's gone, it's gone. Where you guys, I know you had a little bit more of a strategy to that, and you selected some accounts, and you did the best you could. You're trying to control the product and make sure that it gets dispersed the right way, while also not just pissing everybody off, and that does happen. So, and I know there was some people, to be perfectly fair and honest, there were some people who were like, oh, like that Perdomo 30th, like we can't get it. But at the end of the day, I think within time, some of those people, as things change for you guys, maybe some of those retailers can get it as well. But at the same time, I get it. And maybe some people don't, but I get it. And, you do the best you can. And believe me, there's, as you know, I mean, you're in the business too. I mean, it's sometimes something, and sometimes things come out and it's like, psh, and it creates a shitstorm.
Yeah.
It's just like, holy hell. And people they get upset. And I mean, I get it, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, right now, to give you guys an idea, we could sell the entire inventory of 30th anniversary and 12 year right now, and we would finish for the year. But again, for longevity purposes, I want to make sure that these customers, because everybody asks, well, how much do I have to do in order to get, and we don't play that game. It's, you're with us, it's a hierarchy thing. You're with us for so many years. You've been with us for 2-3 decades, a decade, and you've been behind the brand, I have to take care of you because you're the ones, these are the retail partners who took us to the dance. They're the reason why we're here. They're the reason why we create Perdomo Legacy. So it's not about, hey, you got to hit so much, you got to do so much with me. We don't play that game. It's really, hey, just give us some time. We're trying to create a brand that has a lot of years of longevity, and it all starts with inventory. We're building inventories every year because everything we make, it's so important. And especially I learned this with Perdomo Legacy, and my mindset was, and our mindset as a company is, whatever blend we make, I have to make sure that I have inventory of the tobacco for years to come, but also too the seed variety that we use for the filler tobaccos, for the binder tobaccos, even the wrapper tobaccos. We have to make sure that we're continuously going to use those seeds and grow it to maintain consistency and longevity for the brands, for the smoker and the retailer.
And just going to the way that it was released too, I mean, something like this, it's not just celebrating the company, it's celebrating who was with you and the business relationships. And that's exactly what this was. I mean, there's more people that wish they could have gone in initially, but the retailers that had it were people that supported Perdomo, right? And it's celebrating amongst friends. So I think it's again, some people are going to be upset about it, but I think this is the way to do it. In my opinion, this is the way to do it. I don't think there's a better way to do it.
And at least they had a plan for it. You know what I mean? Some of these companies, like, not to throw shade, but it's like they come out with stuff that's so coveted, that's in so minimal supply, and there's just no plan.
Yeah, and it's a race to buy it before it gets.
And then you get a bunch of retailers that maybe are new customers, or maybe not new customers, but like maybe they've only been customers for a couple of years. And then you got people who've been supporting you since day one, and they're like, "What happened?" You're like, "Oh, sorry," and it's like, "Oh, I get it." It's like you face you're playing favorites. It's like, well, it's not really favorites. It's we're taking care of the guys that got us here in the first place. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have a 30th anniversary cigar to sell you.
Sure, it's like Two Guys Smoke Shop,
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, we launched with listen, I can show you, my mom still has some triplicate forms when we used to call Two Guys back when Two Guys was in Boston. And, and when we started out and we were nothing, Dave Garofalo gave us a chance. So, hey, you better believe it. We did the launch with 30th anniversary. And when I was starting to develop the idea of Perdomo Legacy, one of the first phone call I made outside of anybody within our company was Dave. And I said, hey, Mr. Dave, I got an idea. What do you think? And so he's going to be the launch for us because he has a tremendous amount of connection to Perdomo Legacy because he was a big piece for me personally in terms of the strategic side, in terms of just the marketing and so forth. But he was a huge piece for me. And so, we're going to be doing the launch coming up in May, and I believe May 7th, we're going to be having dinner at Roma Ristorante. And I hope you guys will be there, so it's going to be a beautiful cigar dinner that we're going to do on May 7th.
I do plan on it, yeah. I do
Awesome.
plan on it.
Awesome. I'd love to see you guys. So we're extremely excited, but yeah, going back, I mean, it's a relationship business, and, I appreciate, in our family, we really appreciate the ones who took us to the dance many, many years ago when nobody was giving us a shot. So
I remember when the 30th in 23, when you guys first had the 30th cigars, on display, and you're taking orders, and you had the first few samples out, and I remember it was a Friday night before, like the seminar day, that registration day, the night before the first day of the actual show, and I remember I passed Dave in the casino. He was going this way, I was going that way, and he had in his pocket, he had the 30th samples. And I saw him, and he was like, hey! And first thing he did is he pulled them out, and he's like, I got the Perdomo 30s. And he was like a proud mother. I mean, he was like, here they are, oh my God, have you seen them? I mean, he couldn't wait to tell me about it. I mean, and I think there's a lot of retailers obviously support you guys, and they love you guys, and they care about you guys, and you do a lot of business, yada, yada, yada. But, I mean, you're right. I mean, I know what you mean, because I've seen it firsthand. I mean, Dave, one of my home shops, I've spent so much time there. Before I did this, I learned from him. Perdomo was one of those brands it's always front and center, and so I knew. But as I got into the business, I kind of understood some of the relationships better. And I remember, I'll never forget that night when he had those, and he was like a proud mother. Like, it was like, oh my God, I got them. We're going to dinner with them now. I can't wait. And it's nice to see those relationships, I think that's part of what makes the business so special, and
I'm grateful for them. Really am.
How's your cigar doing over there? I already broke my ash. It broke all over my chair. It went everywhere.
Mine's still staying strong.
I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm smoking a Perdomo Legacy, and talking about combustibility. This is Nicaraguan shade-grown wrapper that I'm smoking, but you can see razor burned, really beautiful. It just continues to burn perfectly in the 360-degree radius. I'm really excited, man. I can't wait for you guys to try it. But it's special. We're getting up the product. As a matter of fact, we're getting some of the packaging up from PCA to ship out. That looks great too. We're getting it ready to go ship out for next week to get out to New Orleans. So just saw everything put together, a little bit of the artwork, and so it's like nothing we've ever done outside of just the blend, but the packaging. I can't wait for you guys to see it, man.
Has your dad seen the packaging?
Yes.
Because I remember when this came out, he didn't see it until, I think, like the trade show or something like that.
Before the trade show with Dave Garofalo at dinner at Delmonico Steakhouse. I can definitely speak on behalf of Arthur Kemper, because we really kept that one tight to the cuff, and I will never in my life ever do that again with my dad. Ever keep a surprise like that.
I can imagine.
I know Arthur's going absolutely while he's listening to the show right now, but yeah, I said, no, hey Art, man, I'm showing my dad. I can't do that surprise thing again, because we're just gonna get bombarded with questions and questions and questions. Let me see it, and we're gonna eventually break. So let's just show him. And I kept it a surprise for him. Legacy was a surprise for about 2 years. As a matter of fact, I told him the day of our gender reveal for our daughter Lucia, when we found out that we were gonna have a girl. I said, hey Dad, it's amazing. There's another generation of Perdomo, and I'm trying to remember exactly, but I said, some new surprises, coming in the future. It's going to be a brand made in honor of you. So he was kind of like, that was like the first time I hit him with it. So, but yeah, I don't want to keep any more secrets from my dad.
You did it once. It was cool, but it's like, I can't do it twice. I'm
no
done
more.
Yeah.
No.
So the big question is, has your father smoked the Legacy yet?
So pretty cool. Great question. So the brand where I was 100% done with the blend. So I started on the blend in 21 on this specific blend. I started working on the end of 19 and 20, and I struggled in just trying to. I made cigars that were too flat. I made some cigars that were too light. I made some cigars that were way too heavy, and I was working real hard, and I just couldn't hit it. And then another thing about this tobacco. So really, the two main powerhouse regions of Nicaragua is Jalapa and Esteli. And depending on our blends and depending on the age of tobacco, we use more proportions in certain blends from Esteli versus other blends that you might use more proportions from Jalapa. But we also use certain more lower primings from Condega, which we really like. But we had some really incredible inventories of tobacco, filler tobaccos from Condega, higher primings. And our factory and our director of operations, Nelson Cuba, said, "Hey man, you got to look at some of this tobacco from Condega. We've never really used it before. You should look at it." So I started opening up bales and I started smelling the cigar. It smelled like honey wheat bread, beautiful. And I started smoking it and I used it in the blend. And I said, let me put a little bit more in it. So made the cigars and I said, whoa, this has got the power of Esteli with the sweetness of Jalapa, maybe even sweeter. So making this blend, I was like, wow, man, this is really rich, but it's the most balanced, full-bodied cigar that I've personally ever smoked. And I think it's an extremely approachable cigar to all cigar smokers, whether you like a cigar that's a little bit more to the lighter side or to the heavier side. I think it's incredible. So going back to your question, I gave my dad a cigar in November of last year, or October of last year. I said, hey, Dad, try this. These cigars have been aging now for over 6 months. This is some stuff I was working on my last trip before you came out with me when I was with Nelson. And so he smoked it. He goes, wow, I love this. And I said, this is the blend. That's it. I said, that's good enough for me. This is really different. This is great. And so I said, I'm good. This is a cigar. I said, Nelson, let's run production right now. We started in November. That way we have a little over 6-7 months to the launch in May. We're going to have quite a bit of aging on those cigars, which I'm very happy about.
Wow. It's got and for me, like I'd be, I don't want to say dreading, but I'd be like, this is it. I'm gonna give it to him, and he's either gonna love it or he's gonna hate it. And
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I said, man, this is. But I got to make sure because you got to remember something. And forget the fact he's my dad. My dad's been producing and blending cigars for over 3 decades, not only just for himself, but we've been successful. He makes cigars that the consumers look for. So his palate is incredible. So when he smoked the cigar and said, I love this. This is very different. What is it? What did you just give me? And I said, okay, perfect. This is done. This is ready to go. And I started working on the Maduro wrappers, and I started working on the Connecticut wrappers after. Once I had the first Nicaraguan shade room blend done, but it's just a very special blend, and it's going to come in 5 beautiful sizes across the 3 wrappers.
5 sizes.
5 sizes. So we're going to have a 5x54 Robusto, 6x54 Epicure, 6x60 Gordo, a 7x54 Churchill, and then we're going to have a 5th size, which I think right now will be somewhat of a limited release. Not because I want it, it's just I'm working to build more molds for it. Basically, it was an old size that we used to make. We had an old brand called Cuban Parejo when I was a kid, and we used to make not a torpedo, but a Bellicoso size in a 6x60. And what I wanted to do was, because the bands of these cigars are so beautiful, I wanted to box press these cigars to make the cigar feel smaller, but you're getting the smoke output of a 60 ring gauge cigar, but also too the way the band sits flat on the box press cigar. It's going to be in a 10 count box. So, yeah, so that's going to be in a 10 count. So it's beautiful, and the cigars are unbelievable. So that's going to be a really special size, and the thing I'm very proud of, and something we're known for in Perdomo cigars, is that this cigar is priced to sell every single day.
Have you released the pricing information on this yet?
Sure, I very little, but I'll release it right here. The cigar's going to retail between $13 and $15 a cigar.
Okay, so because that's right around the 30th, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
30's $12.15 to $14.50. This cigar's going to be $13 to $15.
Okay.
Which size cigar did your father smoke?
Oh, great question.
I gave him the Epicure size. Whenever we blend, I like to taste. Yeah, we like to use an Epicure size when we're blending cigars.
I would say, I think it's probably my favorite size out of all the sizes you guys do. In most of the blends, it's probably the size I smoke the most. That's the one that got Cigar of the Year. That's the size we reviewed. Not that the other sizes aren't good, but just that size, just for me, always just kind of hits the best. And I think it's a good size. It's I talk about this, and I've talked about this on the other shows. Like I've been kind of in a smaller format mood for a little while now, just in a general sense. But I do like the Epicure size. Traditionally, I've always liked my cigars at least on the longer side, whether it's a smaller ring gauge or not. I've always liked a longer cigar because I always liked the longer smoke. And the ring gauge isn't too big on it. It's just for me, it's always been a great size. So, yeah, I guess I could see that.
You should try. If you've never tried before, Matt, you should try it. Our 20th anniversary, we've had this size out for over 10 years. If you've never tried it, we have a Corona Grande size. And
Yes,
by
that's
40.
phenomenal.
I'm trying to think, have I had
Really
that size? I've had.
Beautiful size.
I don't even know how I got one, but I got one, and I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. I didn't know Perdomo did this, and I smoked it. I was like, holy shit.
I don't think I have had that size. No.
It's an incredible size.
I might have one still.
If you do, let me know.
Oh, yeah, I have to try that.
It's beautiful, very elegant. It's like a short Churchill.
Yeah.
Speaking of sizes too, like one of the again back to the 30th, because I was still working at Twins at the time, and one of the interesting things, even from looking at reviews and then us having our conversations about the 30th,
Right.
it's the first brand that was released where there was everyone was arguing on which one was the best one.
Like the blend variety or the
just
sizes?
all of it.
Yeah.
Like you have some people, I know at like Two Guys, for instance, the Sun-Grown Torpedo was the one that everyone was raving over. At Twins, it was the Epicure Maduro. And then you go online in the reviews, and it's just scattered amongst the sizes and blends. Like there wasn't like one distinct favorite. It was just spread amongst it all, just because it was just a well executed, consistent.
Well, I was gonna say because I think that speaks to the execution, the overall consistency, and the quality of.
Yeah.
It's a very good point because a lot of times a cigar comes out, and being in retail, how many times has someone come in? You're like, oh, this is whatever, it just came out, and how many times do they go, well, what's the best size? Oh,
Often, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what's the best size? And for the most part, not every time, but for the most part, it kind of becomes this thing where it's like, oh, you gotta smoke the Robusto. That's the one.
I love when people ask me about what's the best size.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite questions because it's all preference, because the proportions in terms of how we blend the cigar based on the ring gauge, based on the length of the cigar, it's all the same. It's just different proportions. The way my dad taught me, it's like your mom. When she makes you this much spaghetti with one meatball, that's a Robusto. A little bit more spaghetti with two meatballs, that's an Epicure, and it goes on and on and on. It's all the same thing. It's the same ingredients. It's just the proportions are different. But that's why it's so important, again, going back with us, with consistency, with the blends, with the tobacco, our inventory of tobacco. We're able to stay consistent. For us, that's really the name of the game. Consistency of blends, consistency of inventory, which leads to minimal back orders, which leads to more cigars in the consumer's hands and the cigars they enjoy. So that's really one of my favorite things when people ask me, what's your favorite, what's what you like? Whatever you want to smoke, but all the blends are the same from Robusto all the way up to Churchill.
But I think to Pat's point too is I think when it comes to you guys, like you said, when you look around, it's like everyone's saying something different, which tells me they're all equally the same. It is preference. You're right, Nicholas.
Sure.
But I think that hubbub. It's not like, oh well, everyone knows that this size is the most popular. Like, no, everyone's fighting over a different size and a different blend. That tells me that they're all pretty even. Which, I gotta say, I mean, you're right. I mean, that's noteworthy considering the trends we see when things get released.
Well, in the 5 years of me working retail, I never had an example of something being released in 5, 6, 7 sizes, and there not being a clear favorite.
Right. No, you're right. That's a very good point. Because, I mean, mindlessly every day, there's a new cigar coming out constantly, and it's always like, well, what's the best size? Oh, the Corona Gorda. Okay. No, with them, you're right. I never really thought about it, but you're right. That's a very good point. The execution was perfect on that then. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Just another. I mean, look, it's just another feather in the cap there for how well the release was done.
Thank you.
Let's take a quick break. You want to do trivia? Or should we do news first?
Do news first or do trivia?
All right, we're gonna do news first. We'll give Nicholas a break for a second. Our news is once again brought to you by Micallef Cigars, featuring the Color Series, the black, blue, red, and debuting at PCA 2025, the new Purple Series, with more colors to come. For more news and updates, head to smokintabacco.com. Brought to you by Micallef Cigars. So, look, it's that time of the year. I'm not really going to do traditionally, most of the time we do one big news story. There's way too many popular news things going on right now with, being a few weeks away from the show. I will give a somewhat express headline read, just because there's too many things. First and foremost, at the top of the list, we got ST Dupont is going to release a Opus X collection at PCA. They have not released any information about this, but they will be having a grand unveiling in their booth on Sunday at 4, I think is the time, for a brand new Opus X collection that they're doing with Arturo Fuente. Aganor Salif has announced the Grand Toro coming in the Supreme Leaf, as well as a 20th anniversary release for JFR to celebrate the JFR 20th anniversary. Crown Heads is going to expand the blood medicine with a limited edition 2025 in 3 sizes. Toscano has announced that they're going to release their Master Age Series number 5, the 5th release. The first 3 came out all at the same time. Last year we saw the 4. This year it's the 5. I think there's a 6th coming next year. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. Steve Saka, like 6 releases. I think that pretty much sums that up. But he's been teasing some of them. The Word of Saka, which is another size in the Sin Compromiso line, which at first I wrote this story under the assumption it would just be released on its own, but then I have to give credit where it's due. Shout out to William Cooper from cigarcoop.com, who corrected me and said he commented on one of my shows it's going to be part of a sampler. So, which Steve hasn't officially said that, but he actually said it on one of the shows. So keep an eye out for that. And many more. And there's a lot of them. You can head to smokintabacco.com for all of the PCA coverage, all the announcements on all the new products. Some of these things have been announced, have already begun shipping. They're not necessarily for the show, but they're being released right now. There's a lot of them out there, and I anticipate it's just going to keep getting busier and busier up until the day before. And then, who knows? There's always a couple surprises at the show, too, that you don't know about until you're there. So our coverage is brought to you by Drew Estate, so make sure you stay tuned while we navigate the trade show once again. You want to do the trivia now, or should we take a beat?
Do it now.
You want to do it now? All right. Our new trivia segment brought to you by Perdomo Cigars. That's right. Quality, tradition, and excellence, featuring the cigar of the year, the 30th anniversary Sun-Grown Epicure, which is smoking fantastic tonight. And Nicholas is here with us for it. So, how many you got for us?
We'll do 3.
You got 3?
Unless there's a bonus one. We'll see.
Do you have like a tiebreaker round or something like that? Or just like a really juicy one?
It depends how well he does. I feel like I have to try to stump him once, right? So
the first week was good. It was a little too hard. Then like the last 2 weeks were a little easy. So I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
What's is there a theme this week?
Maybe.
All right.
We'll see.
All right. I'll let you do your thing.
We'll see. All right, Nick.
Nicholas, this is all you.
Let's see what you got.
I mean, I'm here too, but you're in the hot seat.
All right, question 1. What is the national animal of Scotland?
Oof. He's like, I have no fucking
Yeah,
clue.
he's like, what the? What the?
He's like, how would I know that? I don't know. Nicole might know that.
Which one?
Stag, deer,
No.
That's a good guess, though. That's a good guess.
Glenfiddich bottle, I think. Or,
No.
It's funny. Yeah, all the scotches, they all have deer on them.
He won't get this one because you wouldn't guess this.
Is it a bird?
No.
Is it a mammal?
No. It's a mythical creature.
Oh, come on.
Yes, unicorn.
What?
Yeah.
But it's not a real thing.
Do I get partial credit?
I'll give you. Yeah, I'm still even with a hint. I'm shocked you got it. I mean,
Wait, that's like
dead ass unicorn.
That's their like officially like that's their thing.
That's what they're going with.
Okay. All right, what's the next one?
All right. Which planet has over 145 known moons?
I assume it's a bigger planet if it's got that many moons to it. Is it in our solar system?
Yeah.
All right. 145?
Under 45 moons in the solar system,
Around one planet.
around one planet.
Your mom, lifeline to Elon Musk, please. So there's two answers in the comments. So Peter said Uranus.
He just wanted him to say Uranus.
I think he wanted him to say that too. I think that's why anyone ever says it now. And then I got 2 for Saturn.
I'm gonna go with Saturn.
It's Saturn.
Wow. I was gonna say Jupiter, but then Saturn's a good-sized planet too, so I guess that makes sense.
This one could be an easy one if you're into that moon stuff. Which sign of the zodiac is represented by a crab?
Oh, I know this one, because it's Nicole's.
Sign of the crab.
Nicholas, I'll give you a hint. It's an ocean animal.
It's not Cancer, is it? No.
Yeah.
Cancer.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You already gave him the animal. I don't know why I wasn't thinking that. I should have said it the other way around. The
He
crab.
got it. Yeah, he got it though.
But he got it.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
yeah.
I don't know why. He already knew it was a crab. I was thinking you said
Yeah,
Cancer.
yeah.
What's the
Even
animal?
though your dumbass comment
Yeah.
still didn't throw him off.
I was thinking of
Yeah.
it backwards.
That was solid.
I was thinking of it backwards. I should have said it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're really fucking up my segment here.
Well, you know what? I was trying to help him. You know.
Yeah, it's a Perdomo segment, and you're fucking it up, Matt.
I know. Well, you're not supposed to like call me out on it in front of a Perdomo. I mean,
Let's do a bonus one
yeah,
because
do the bonus one because like
fuck Matt. All right, this is an easy one. Which city was the first modern Olympics held?
what do you mean by modern? Because the Olympics have been around since like the Roman times.
Well, that would be considered the modern Olympics.
The
It's-
Roman
it's
times.
never changed. Yeah, Roman times. Same thing.
LA. Los Angeles?
So let's get rid of the modern. That's kind of a weird way.
Yeah,
So
that's what throws me, 'cause I'm like, what do
city
you-
where the Olympics was held.
The very first
The
Olympics.
very first Olympics.
I think I know the answer to this one.
Oh,
It's in the comments. We have two
It was
different choices here.
Do you want me to- no.
Oh, I
No.
thought you meant.
No, I mean no. That's why I said the whole modern thing like that. No, he means like the actual first Olympics.
Yeah, the first one. I don't know why it says
Oh,
modern in it.
Greece and Athens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was gonna say if you're talking like the first Olympics, it was Athens. But when you say modern, I'm like, what do you mean by modern
Yeah.
Olympics?
Trivia.com isn't phrasing the questions that way. I don't know.
Because like by that it could be like, what's the modern Olympics since like the 1900s? Like, you know, I don't know. But no, the very first Olympics was in Athens. It was in Greece.
Yep.
And then it was in Athens again, and probably a few times after that. But the last time was what, 2004? Was Athens? Was it Athens 2004? Was it 2000? No, I think 2000
Well,
was.
it's every 6 years. So.
I think 2000 was Salt Lake City, and then I think 2004. It's every 4.
Is it before?
It's every 4.
Oh,
So 2004.
yeah,
it was
don't ask me
Athens.
trivia. I suck at it. So
Listen, this is your segment, man. I mean,
doesn't mean I have to be. I just got to read the questions, Matt.
yeah, I know. But your delivery on asking the questions. When was the first modern Olympics? Actually, the first
Yeah,
Olympics.
trivia.com, man. Blame them.
Blame you.
BlameTrivia.com.
Is that how they wrote it?
That's exactly. I'm
All right.
just reading. I'm here to read.
All right. I'll give it to you.
I offer no benefit to this show other than
right.
reading this one page.
All right. Well, you know what? We don't have any other segments for the rest of the show. I'm gonna leave the Perdomo banner up because I mean the Perdomos are here, so why not? Let's just leave it there. Let's let the name shine. Did you have anything else on the 30th you wanted to talk about?
I think we touched enough on it. We can move on.
All right. Did you have anything on the legacy you wanted to bring up? I wanted to make sure you get all your questions in too. I know you probably have stuff. I know sometimes I run away with it, so.
Whatever you guys want to know.
Can we go into packaging?
Sure. I mean, I'll give you.
I know you probably can't show it to us.
Well, yeah, not showing it, but.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything to show. I'm supposed to be getting it, hopefully, the rest of it tomorrow over Friday. I'll have everything together. But sure, I can talk about it, of course.
So what is the... So, I mean, we talked about the 30th. The detail, the family heirlooms that are incorporated on the band. Is there anything like that? I would assume there is, that you're going to be incorporating on the bands and the boxes.
There's a little bit of similarities, but it's totally different. The boxes they're old school, but they're very different. The packaging, it's like, I don't believe there's anything on the market like it. When you open the box, if you're parking the way I could describe it is, if you're parking your car and you're about to walk into a store and there's glass and you're parking your car from so far back, you can see the brand from your car looking inside the humidor. That's how much it stands out. It's like, I mean, it's bling. I mean, it's very uniform. It's very ornate. But I've never seen, golds and powdered golds and holograms ever used, holographic styles used ever like this. It's incredible. It's got to be the best. It's an honor of my dad. So to me, it's the best.
So, in other words, you guys are known for using a lot of gold foil in your packaging. This is the most amount of gold foil you've ever used.
100%. You look at it, you go.
Not that that's a bad thing.
No. It's you look at it. I see Perdomo, but there's not one piece. You know it's a Perdomo cigar, but it's not like, hey, we took some art from this brand, art from this brand, art from this brand. No, Arthur Kemper and I, we sat down and we created this brand, and Arthur's really the true artist of the company. He's Arthur. It's a secret. It's a secret. But the secret is, Arthur, and I see your comments. It's killer. It's kick ass, and I know there's so you're gonna be shocked. You're gonna be wowed. I was wowed. I didn't when I saw it on the shelf in our humidor and our distribution center in Miami. We all put it up and amongst the other brands, and we were just like, wow,
So in other words, it's done in a way where you have all the existing products that have been on the shelves for years, and some of the newer ones too. But they're all different, but they all kind of go together. This kind of sets it apart, where not really like it divides itself, but you can kind of see this is kind of where the next generation begins.
Sure, and that's a good point. And but it's another brand within a brand.
Mm-hmm.
It's its own brand within the Perdomo brand. So, and that's how we kind of look when you look at 12-year double-aged vintage. It looks like 12-year. It's Perdomo, but it's its own 30th anniversary, its own 20th anniversary, Habano, 10th anniversary, so forth. Even Lot 23, the packaging, even though it's a $7 and $9 cigar, packaging is fantastic on that cigar. We use hologram, we use gold fools, and so forth. We're not cheap when it comes to packaging. We spend a lot of money on packaging because the cigars up here, that's what we truly believe. Our cigars here, the packaging's got to be here too, so it's important.
And are you still... Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, not at all.
Are you still doing the blue, red, and yellow primary colors to differentiate the wrappers?
There are different colors that differentiate the wrappers.
You didn't say which colors though.
But a new set of colors to clarify.
Yes and no.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit of both.
And what
If you would have
count?
darkest comment up, maybe I would have said something.
Ah, see, I shot myself in the foot. I should have not. I shouldn't have done that. I like Arthur too much, though. You know what I mean? I really, you know.
That's two fuck ups now.
I
Matt.
gotta take care of Arthur too. You know. I gotta look out for him.
Nobody messed up anything. Nobody messed up anything.
And how many? What's the count of the boxes? I know you mentioned that there's going to be a 10 count.
So the core 4 sizes for Boost Epicure, Gordo, Churchill, they're going to be 24 count boxes, 3 rows of 8, and then we're going to have a 10 count box in the Grand Bellicoso box press.
Now, and sorry, I think you said this before. I want to clarify it just one more time on the availability. This is also going to be kind of like the 30th, where you're not going to open up to everybody, right? This is only going to be to select accounts, or will it be mass available?
It's going to start out selected few with the mindset of opening it up, just like no different than 12 year and 30th. We increased 12 year and 30th accounts within the last year and a half by 30%, which to me is actually, and we have the intention of doing it. But again, you can never. And we believe it's the right way to do it, to keep the integrity of the brand, to enable to keep the brand moving forward and to keep minimal out of stocks. How we place the brand when we first initially launch it, we grow it little by little. Because again, I can sell out every year. I can sell out at 30th anniversary. I can sell out 12-year double H vintage, small, less, 2 brands that inventories are much less. But again, all I'm doing is in the long term, I'm shooting myself in the foot, and I'm really going to piss off the retailer and consumer for not having that available. So this will be a small release, but it'll be good size.
Now I just can't stop thinking about the packaging. You know, it's funny. Everyone always, I always say this all the time. It's always like no one cares about the packaging, but they do, so to speak. Where it's like, oh, it's about how the cigar performs and how it tastes. Like no one cares what band is on it, but at the same time they do, because when you walk into the store and you see everything up on the shelf, naturally you gravitate more towards some things than others just because of you like how it looks. Even though that. It doesn't matter how it looks because it's going to taste how it's going to taste. It could look ugly in the packaging, but be like, wow, this is the best cigar I ever had, and vice versa. But at the same time, I do understand the mentality of, well, you have such a great product. It has to be in good packaging. It's the whole experience. And, to a degree, there is truth behind that too. I mean, I'm not going to mention any names because it doesn't matter, but there's certain cigars out there where people, I don't want to say they only smoke them, but there are cigars that people smoke because of the packaging, because they want to take their pictures of it and they want people to see those bands and stuff on them. It makes sense. But regardless, you have a good product, having good packaging. One thing on that I want to ask you about is maybe like a two-parter. The first one being, is this the same? So all your bands, I know you guys make your boxes, but all the bands and the inlay in the box, like the lids, you guys order those. Is that all from the same manufacturer, including now the Legacy, that you order all those from?
From Holland, correct.
From Holland.
Yeah, all our work, all our packaging, we order from, in my opinion, the best printers in the world out of Holland.
Now, I know when the 30th came out, there was some delays with them. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of that did have to do with the pandemic happening at the time, but have you seen any delays with the pack? Is all the packaging going to be ready to go on time for this release?
The packaging will be ready to go on time. Okay,
good.
Never easy, but it's again, it's extremely detailed. It's one of the most, and the owners of the company told us that it's one of the most difficult brands that they ever had to print in terms of embossing, in terms of the colors, in terms of all the golds and so forth. But it is what it is. It's got to look incredible. It's after my dad.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been talking about, one of the things we've been talking about lately is the fresh packs.
Yeah.
We talked about that last week with Oliver and kind of in general. Now, you guys, whenever that conversation comes up, a lot of times you guys are mentioned because you were, I don't know if you were really one of the true first people, but you were one of the first I remember that had the fresh packs, and in the retail stores I spent a lot of time in back in the day, they always sold well, like Two Guys. The concept is great. Price point's nice. I think yours are 5 cigars, and you do them by wrapper
4.
variety. They're 4, and you do them by wrapper variety, right?
So we have 4 different varieties. So we do by wrappers. So basically, we do a Connecticut variety, a sun-grown variety, and a Maduro variety in the 4 core brands: Lot 23, 10th anniversary, Perdomo Habano, and 20th anniversary. And then we have that Connecticut sun-grown Maduro, and then we have a all champagne epicure bag, which is 4 champagne epicures.
That's
so
right.
Everything.
Now, the 30ths are not in those, right? Is there any plan to get maybe down the road? I mean, just for the retailers that do carry it, is there maybe thoughts of maybe doing fresh packs and some of those the newer stuff? Because regardless, I still think it's such a great tool to have, and I think it's popular. At least again in the stores that I spend time in, and the people I see who buy them, people love them. They don't want to commit to a box, but they need a handful. It's a quick, easy grab. It keeps them fresh for a while. Especially the guys heading to the golf course or something for the day. It keeps them fresh all day. I think, and it's become such an industry thing now where so many manufacturers are coming up with these fresh packs. They really seem to be taking off. Tubos have gone away. We're seeing a lot of fresh packs now. And you guys, being one of the people I think executed it the best, and being so popular with it, I was just curious if you can kind of continue to add to that, because I know you don't have them all kind of in there, but and I wasn't sure if the newer I didn't think the newer stuff was in there, but I didn't know if maybe that would be something that would be offered in the future as well.
So for 12-year 30th anniversary of Perdomo Legacy, it's probably never going to happen. The reason why is again because of inventory, because fresh packs are such high volume movers. That's really the biggest thing. That's why we're able to keep our consistency with brands like Lot 23, Perdomo Habano, 10th anniversary, and 20th anniversary. But we do have a connoisseur collection that comes in 4 different varieties: Connecticut sun-grown Maduro, and then the executive collection, or the award-winning collection, which is multiple wrappers that had high ratings of 90 and plus. So those 12-year samplers, or those 12-year 12-count connoisseur collections, they do have 2 of each of 12-year double age vintage and 30th anniversary. So that package or that collection does have it, but the fresh packs.
Yeah, I just think those fresh packs are great, especially the way you guys do it with the variety. It's an easy sale too. I think as a retail. As a retailer, when you worked in retail, is it safe to say that that's a good register sale too, as an add-on, or do people really come in just looking for them?
It's both.
Both.
Oftentimes you get people going in and they're going on like a fishing trip, they're going golfing, they're going hunting, whatever the outdoor activity is, and they're displayed right at the register. So it's a no-brainer. Like, oh, I'm going out and doing this. It's like, well, get the fresh pack because you can bring them with you. They're going to be secure. They're going to be humidified, and then they're good cigars. And there's also people that won't buy a box, but they'll buy a handful of fresh packs. So it's both. It's very versatile in the retail setting.
Yeah, and then I forgot about the connoisseur collection too, which that came out 22. I want to say.
Yeah,
was that?
Yeah.
2020. And that's a nice set too. I don't know why, and please don't hold it against me, but I forget about it from time to time. But that's a nice setup too, especially for someone who really is a big fan of Perdomo. Maybe they almost exclusively, if not completely exclusively, smoke Perdomo.
Sure.
And maybe they smoke all Maduros, but maybe not one, but Maduro in all the collections. That's a great grab too. And I like how you guys have expanded with some of those things too, because you make so many great cigars. It's nice to be able to get a variety like that so quick and neat, especially as a gift or whatever it is. It's just it's a nice item, I think that's a great idea that we don't mention enough, but I like that connoisseur collection. Twins has them?
I don't believe so.
I'm pretty sure Dave does. I feel like I've seen them there.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure he does. I couldn't remember if Twins did, but yeah,
Stellar.
yeah, yeah, and you know it's funny because thinking about it now, I there's a lot of people I know who are pretty exclusive to Perdomo, and they buy a lot of those because of that. You know, just one quick hit, variety, great cigar. I mean, it's nice. I do like stuff like that, especially someone like me. Like I can't smoke the same thing all the time. So for me, that's an easy win because it's like I'll grab one of these and it's Perdomo, and I know going into it it's Perdomo, so my expectation across the board is going to be the same, but I'll have like a little something different every time too, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's a great grab too. Hey, I'm looking at the time, and before we get too off the rails here, I just want to make sure that was there anything else you wanted to add in, or any other questions you had for Nicholas before we get towards the end of the show?
More of a comment, because, I mean, we were speaking
Sure.
of packaging and branding earlier, and we've talked about this numerous times. I've brought it up numerous times. The thing that Perdomo does that, again, in the retail setting, that's very beneficial and very enjoyable to see is, it doesn't matter what shop you go into, the Perdomo section looks consistent. It's clean, it's done well, and I saw Roy in here. He's actually just commented. So I said this before tonight, so I don't want it to be like Roy's like, oh, Pat's saying this because I'm in the chat. Like,
Roy doesn't mess around.
Oh, and I would assume I've only ever met Roy because he's the rep in the area, but he'll go into the shop and he looks at that section, and if there's a box that's an inch off, he'll move it. It has to be perfect, right? Like, and it's the only brand that does that. And you go to any shop, if they have Perdomo, it looks like a copy and paste on that shelf.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys too at Twins for doing such a great job of maintaining our section too. But you know, you bring up Roy Kirby. Roy Kirby is the man. When I think when and people have told me this, many people, whether it's retailers or cigar smokers, when you think of a salesman, you think of the New England territory, there's one name that comes up. It's Roy Kirby, and I'm extremely proud and grateful to have Roy Kirby. Roy Kirby's been with our team since I was a senior in high school. This right before I graduated high school. He took a real tough job. We had a gentleman named Tom O'Hearn, who was a long timer in New England, and unfortunately Tom O'Hearn passed away. And Roy Kirby, we want to talk about a guy who built on top of a foundation. Roy Kirby is a true testament, somebody who helped us build the New England market almost over the last 15 years. So Roy Kirby, I'm proud to say, is the best salesman in all of New England, and I love him. He's part of our family, and he is a man's man. He's a hard worker, and I'm just so proud of him and grateful for him.
Yeah, Roy's awesome. I miss seeing. I'm not in the shops as much as I used to be. You know, admittedly, you know, life is a little bit different now, but you know, I remember I used to run into Roy all the time, and it was always great to see him. Look, he knows his stuff. He does his job well. I mean, he's great to just shoot the shit with too. I mean, he's a funny guy. He's awesome. And he's watching too. So Roy, thanks for being here tonight. But yeah, it's true. The merchandising is done, and I remember I've been down to the office, you know, and you guys have the display, you know, in the main area there, kind of like how you guys want it to be set up, merchandised and displayed, and it's just, I think that kind of puts the cherry on top with the vertical integration. Like, you could talk about the growing and the packaging and all the other stuff, but like all the way down to when it gets into the store, you guys even have it set on the shelf the right way, you know, or like the way you want it, the way you think it looks the best, and it works well for you. I mean, that's like the total. I don't know many other brands that do that. I mean, brands will come in and be like, "Oh, my shelf's empty," but like they don't, like, it's got to be right here. It's got to be right here. This size goes before this one. I mean, it's interesting.
And the thing too is, you see a lot of new releases and other companies come out, and the box, you know, the box shaped differently. It's a different color scheme, and it looks like a different brand, right? But with Perdomo, no matter what it is, it's unique in its own sense, but it matches the shelf.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and again, that's why I asked about Legacy, because you've kind of hinted towards it being different. I mean, it's got the Perdomo values, but also kind of a little bit more different. So it sounds like it's still going to fit under that, like, it's Perdomo, it all matches, but it's really going to stand on its own as well.
It is, and when you see the cigar, and I'll leave it like this, and I hate to tease, but when you see the packaging in person, I know you're going to come up to me, man, and you're going to say, this is only $13 to $15 a cigar. And you're going to smoke this cigar, and you're going to tell me, Nicholas, this is only $13 to $15 a cigar. But not for nothing. That's what I'm proud of, is that we price our cigars every day to sell every single day. And it's important to me that, and for our company, because I think it's what made us is, yes, we have extremely high value of in terms of our pricing and with our cigars, and we want to make sure that, my dad always told me pigs get slaughtered, and you got to be fair, and you got to always have a price point where it's priced to sell every day, and that's something that I'm extremely proud of with Perdomo Legacy. Being my first brand, I never wanted to be in the high dollar, because I never wanted anybody, or I don't want anybody to say, oh, look at this young kid, look at Nick's kid. He's trying to come in, make a really super expensive cigar. I don't want that to be me. I want to make sure I price a cigar, make the most beautiful cigar possible, with the most beautiful packaging, but with the best cigar that I could possibly blend at the best cigar, at the best price.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still surprised this is how much it is. I mean, I remember when these came out, I was like, wow, I feel like this smokes a lot more than what it is. I mean, but hey, I mean, I'll take it. I don't want to pay more, but no, I mean, but really, I remember the first time I smoked the 30th, all of them, I was like, what's the price on this again? I looked it up, I was like, and I started thinking about like other cigars and like what they're going for, and I'm like, wow, this smokes like really well for that price point. Like it becomes, and we had the conversation with Coop recently, or a few months ago, about like doing the review and taking the price into consideration. It's like, this is why I'm like, yeah, but when you look at a cigar like this and it smokes this good, and then you look at how much it costs you and it's less than you think it should be, it's like, how do you not, it's like, wow, you get a kick-ass cigar. I mean, and it shouldn't only come down to the price, but when you think about it, like, you're getting a cigar this good for this price. I mean,
that's vertical integration, right?
Yeah,
And
I mean,
I think there's
can't beat
people that abuse vertical integration and they price to the market.
Yeah.
But with integrity, like, this is the result.
Right.
Anyone can buy this.
Yeah, and I think that's always, like Nicholas was saying, I mean, their cigars are accessible, for anybody. And, it's worked well for them. Easily they could have charged more, but they don't. And everyone can buy their cigars and everyone can enjoy them. So the last thing I want to bring up with you before I let you go, we've talked about Legacy. I know it's not out yet, and I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself here, but knowing how you operate, Legacy's debuting in weeks, and we'll probably start shipping not too long after that. Have you started working on your next project?
Yes.
That's all you. Do you have another one that's all you?
Already started working on a blend. I worked on some other blends that I've already got in the makes. But again, I'm not in any rush. I'm happy where I'm at. I think we've done a great job of not only supplying our retailers with many different types of cigars, but also too, I think it's an opportunity for me to continue to expand on my knowledge of how to blend cigars. I'm working with different type of tobaccos, trying to experiment more, staying within the country of Nicaragua, but there's so many different type of varieties, so many different type of tobaccos that are in that country. It's an amazing country. It's a big country, but there's so much land, there's so many different provinces, so many different areas that grow tobacco. And so I'm very blessed that I have the opportunity and the ability to take advantage of trying some other regions, some other unknown regions for the most part, or less known regions. And there's some incredible tobaccos, and I'm going to take my time, but you better believe it. I'm working every day and figuring out other type of blends, but I got one on the way that I'm working on, and hopefully I'll be down there pretty soon after the show and after our launch with Dave. And I already have cigars being made, but I'm going to let them rest, and I'm going to get down there and try it.
I thought of this after. You guys are very Nicaragua focused. I mean, that's where your factory is. You grow your tobacco. But from time to time we see brands very similar to you that are very focused, one region or whatever, one country. Maybe is a better way to describe it. And then they decide to venture out into like let's say for you guys Nicaragua, but then it's like we want to explore Dominican, or we want to explore Honduran, and they start to kind of explore other countries. Is that something you think Perdomo eventually will do? Will kind of get outside of the Nicaraguan footprint, or do you think that that's just too important for your identity as a company that you'll kind of always stick for the most part within Nicaragua with your tobaccos and everything you work with?
It's a great question. Never say never. I mean, we're getting tremendous amounts of samples from different countries, from Honduras, from Dominican Republic, from Paraguay, from Peru. I mean, different tobaccos all the time. Tobaccos from the United States, and we work different tobaccos too. But we just haven't found as of yet, in terms of what type of cigars we're trying to make, in terms of what we're trying to achieve, we really haven't found any type of tobaccos. It's not a knock to anybody. It's just the way we make cigars that really, that does it for us like Nicaragua does. But there are great tobaccos out there, and and trust me, I've worked with other tobaccos these last 3.5, 5 years, now almost 5.5 years with Perdomo Legacy. I've tried tobaccos from other countries, and no knock to them, or anything like that. There's phenomenal tobaccos, but right now, I mean, we're focused on Nicaragua because there's so many other areas that are underdeveloped, and there's so many areas where we're going to be purchasing more farms outside of the Esteli region, Jalapa and Condega. So we're already in the works for that, and they're incredible. It's again the grounds in that country. They're truly blessed. They're some of the most beautiful grounds I've ever seen in my life, and there's so many different varieties of tobacco that you can grow in Nicaragua. So right now I'm happy, but I will never say never. So that's the truth.
Well, that'll be interesting to see as time goes on, that kind of how the brand evolves, and if you guys ever kind of get outside of that zone.
Sure.
And I appreciate the way you said it too. And it's not a knock on anyone else, but you guys have a very particular flavor profile and a lot of other things that you go for when you make your cigars. But at the same time, like you said, that there are so many varieties and there's so many different things you can do. Always have to wonder, do you guys ever get to that itch of like, let's just go somewhere totally different and kind of accept a new challenge? Oh, let's start working with some more Dominican tobaccos or Honduran tobaccos or whatever. Just because we want to see if we can use those tobaccos and get it within our realm. But like you said, never say never. But it'll be curious to see kind of if and how and when you guys ever decide to do that. That'd be interesting.
Totally possible. Listen, we're extremely loyal. Listen, my dad moved latter part, 95, right after, the revolution, and we were one of the 3 factories in the mid 90s that was there. It was the original Hoya de Nicaragua, when Simon Camacho owned it, Naxa, which was owned by Lou Rothman, JR, and then we were there. And we have a lot of loyalty to the country. The people have been incredible to us. So I'm extremely loyal to Nicaragua, extremely grateful, and our family is. So Nicaragua will always be first, but again, I'll never say never. If I find great tobacco and I'm able to incorporate in certain blends, I'm always gonna take a shot. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think I'm gonna end it there on that note, and the rest of this will come at PCA, which I'm very excited for. Mitchell and I will be there, so can't wait to see you in the booth, see your parents and everyone else at Perdomo. It'll be an exciting time to finally see Legacy on display, and maybe we get to try it. Hopefully, I don't know.
I hope your mom's coming.
What's that?
I hope your mother's coming.
She's not coming to this show.
Come on.
Sorry. I'm sorry to say she's not coming to this show, but she did say hi, and I know she's watching, and I know she was excited to tune in tonight because she knew you were on. And I said,
it's worth noting. Your mom saved my life. Being from Miami, used to 100% humidity all the time. And I go out to Vegas for TP, where I see you and your mom. Your mom had the mom instincts. It reminded me of my mom, where she came and said, "Look at your hands." My hands were cracking. I was bleeding. I was so embarrassed. Again, going from 100% to 0%. And your mom the next day came and gave me all that medicated cream. I'll never forget that. So she's got a special place in my heart. But if she can't make it to the show, at least I'd love to see her at our release, at our launch for Perdomo Legacy.
It's funny, when we were talking about it during the show, I hadn't really gotten a chance to talk to her about it, and she texted me, and she's like, what's this event at Dave's you guys are talking about? I'm like, I'll tell you later. but yeah, so now that she knows, she's going to be looking to go, because I know she's going to want to see you guys. So,
I hope so. And tell her my mother will be there too. I'd like for her to meet my mom.
Yeah. I will talk to her, and hopefully at least that I can get her to. I think that would probably be a good time. But that's going to be the show tonight. So Nicholas, thank you so much. I know you're so busy. I know how hard you work. So thank you for taking some time out of already a long day to come sit with us and to do more work. I know you're probably just ready to unwind for the night. So thank you. I appreciate it. And to everyone at Perdomo. Can't wait to see you in New Orleans. Guys, that's going to be our show this week. Stay tuned for more coverage of the PCA Trade Show brought to you by Drew Estate as the next several weeks continue to unfold. Head to SmokinTabacco.com for more news, reviews, and updates from the cigar industry, and we'll see you on Saturday night with Spare Notes.